why we call it happy hour.
We are now recording the December 1st. I wanted to say 21st. Why? I don't know. It's coming soon enough.
Yeah. Solstice.
That Russian?
Yeah, December 1st, 2017 Small Business Accounting Advisors.
Yay!
So the big webinar was today with Seth and Hector on Camtasia and video marketing. And both Linda and Sarah went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was an hour of Seth and then an hour of Hector. I wish Hector had gone first. Seth,
I know.
Yeah, Seth dove right into Camtasia and it was just almost overwhelming. Whereas Hector started with
equipment.
And he was great. He's like, don't worry about equipment. Don't worry about fancy software. Don't let that hold you up. Just start videoing. And he had all kinds of free stuff you could play with. And then he started with the cheaper equipment up to the, and so he sort of built you up into all the different things you can do and sample, and then the different kinds of videos and how you could use it and everything. And that, I think, that would have been a lot better in the beginning.
When you say equipment, you mean like camcorders or?
Well, yeah, he was talking about, just use your cell phone and start with that, or use the camera on your laptop, or your camera on your, I have the, what do I have? Actually, the one he was showing, but and then Seth really he did a deep dive on how to edit a video.
And that's what you wanted, though. You wanted that Camtasia specifically.
Right. Well, he threw in that other video that he's had on the market for a long time on Camtasia. So as soon as I paid for today, I was able to watch that one, which is basically the same stuff. But yeah, and see, then I could have it on. I could have his video on one monitor and actually play in Camtasia. But so yeah, that stuff's addictive.
Once you get started, yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think, Linda? You're muted. Let me.
I enjoyed it very much. It was backwards, but to me that doesn't make much difference. And the other thing is, I thought I will definitely have to go back and listen to it. And so I will just listen to Hector's first. There were certain parts of Hector's that really appealed to me. And I know Sarah will remember this when he said, this is everything. He was talking about how you can search on YouTube.
I know.
And top searches are, and we can share this with you, but when you search on YouTube, if you type in the word QuickBooks, you'll notice right away things will come up. The top two are things that you have searched for that start with QuickBooks.
And they're purple.
They're purple, yes. And you can easily, except you have to go into a certain place to get that, don't you?
He dismissed it, but I must have looked away. I didn't see how he dismissed them.
Oh, to the right, there was a thing that said remove. When he moved his cursor to the right, he got a thing that said either keep or remove, and he removed them.
Because it should show you the top 10 search phrases people use. Yeah.
And then you would see a whole bunch like QuickBooks tutorial, QuickBooks this, QuickBooks that, and then you could go underline QuickBooks and it would pull up the top 10 terms that started with something different. There were other words and then the word QuickBooks. Or you could do QuickBooks underline and another word, or QuickBooks underline and another word. It was like unbelievable.
I never knew
how you could really tailor it. I had no idea. And he said, there are some people on this webinar that are going to get this, but this is everything. And I typed in the chat, I got it. You're right. It's keywords and key phrases. That's everything. And then what you do is he actually went online and he found one that QuickBooks had done. And he watched it carefully. It was like learning QuickBooks online. And he made one like it, but he named it a little different name, like Learning QuickBooks Online, Getting Started. And he's had like, what, 300,000?
Crazy hits.
People watched it. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. And Seth says, when people go on YouTube and make comments on your videos, doesn't matter whether they're positive comments or negative comments, they count to bump up your views and everything and your comments. So it gets, so when the trolls do that to Seth,
That's funny.
goes in and says something like, well, tell me how you really feel. And then they come back and they go on and on and on. And then after a while they get tired, but he'll say, well, thank you very much. I love you. You just boosted me up on the Google. Then they go away and they don't come back.
Sometimes.
It was really kind of neat. It was really
All the statistic, like the analytics and all that was fascinating.
Yes, that's what I like. And it turns out that Hector really enjoys doing YouTube videos. So
I didn't notice.
he'll just answer it with a video. And
And he doesn't do it to get money, really. He just
No, this was his first paid one. Everything else was free. But I have to say, here we are. We're doing it for free too. And, you know, we're right there with them. We're almost at the 200 mark for small business accounting advisors. Yeah.
Oh, really?
In
For
terms of
subscribers?
people that are on Facebook for small
No.
business advice.
Number of videos that we've done.
Oh,
Oh.
Well, we've done
You can't search for him, though.
for 3.5 years.
Right.
Hector may be doing them for free, but the amount of return he's got on it is,
Man.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
pulls in clients that way.
Yeah, that's what he does. He gets clients. And it's a good way because what happens is your videos screen for your people. People who like Seth maybe won't like me, but people that would enjoy me might not like Seth. And the same way with Hector. Like Hector's perfect timing for a video, his average time is 6 minutes. That's his sweet spot. But Seth's is 3.5 minutes. So
Ours is an hour.
Well, and Hector said a lot of his videos are 60 minutes because he puts up the QB hour, hour, and
They had technical difficulties this week. Did anybody watch them?
I was busy.
Oh my goodness. Who is he using?
What did they cover?
GoToWebinar. Something happened with it and shut him down in the middle. Yeah. Yeah. They had technical difficulties.
Well, that's why we use Zoom.
well, GoToWebinar is kind of an older project, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. It's been around for a while.
So maybe their technology is still kind of.
Well, whatever it was.
Tried to improve it.
Yeah, it blew him out right at the end of the video. It blew him out.
Hmm.
But it was
Although
over 50 minutes, so I didn't know whether it was because he'd gone over or what.
Actually, I've heard Zoom being advertised on the radio in this market.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad they're doing so well. I want them to stay.
Of course, salary is pretty high tech, you know.
I missed the lower third,
I know.
and I don't like the way we can see our names, but on the video our names aren't there.
Right.
Ah,
And that goes along with the lower third and also frame. I mean, weren't we able to do frames before they had all kinds of fun stuff.
Stuff.
yeah, we could have clown hats and
Right, right.
My halo. I used to wear my halo.
Has anybody used go to or used the Hangouts ever since?
I have not.
Recently, and we had all kinds of trouble, and I thought, well, they haven't fixed a thing.
Exactly the way it was from 3 years ago. Boy, I'm
So they
so-
haven't put a lot of resources in it then.
For, I think, a whole year before we moved away.
well, I sure wish that they would bring back that little slideshow editor on YouTube and,
Yeah.
you know, concentrate on leaving things that work and stop pushing things that don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing is when you record, you can see all of us. But when Seth records, it only shows who's talking. There can be 10, 20 people on there and you're not going to know it.
Got
Well, that's, you can actually on Zoom, I choose the gallery view.
Seth hasn't. And I've
Right.
mentioned, like, you know, if I'm going to be on the panel and somebody's doing all the talking, well, you know, I can watch it later or watch it on Facebook Live.
And Facebook Live renders it different. It always
Yeah.
defaults to person talking.
Ah,
But that's the
Always.
way his recording is. It renders it just like his recording, maybe.
But
So
even
on
when he does
Facebook,
the gallery view.
on
Yeah.
Facebook, can you search for videos
No,
for the on the Facebook Live? Can you do a search for them?
I don't think so. Because I think if I go to Facebook Live, it shows all kinds of stuff that I have no idea why they would show it to me. But
Yeah, their algorithm is like really wonky.
now here's a question for you, Gina. When you put the video up on your YouTube channel, do you have a choice of letting us download it? Because right now they can't be downloaded. Some people, you know.
No, I have the choice of making it public or private or unlisted.
Mhm.
But if anyone wants to download it, I think it has to do with their YouTube. No?
got it.
I haven't been able, because what I wanted to do was I can put a link to your, you know, to our Friday YouTubes, but I can't change its name. 'Cause I want searchable, like if we have a really good episode on.
Well, you know what? If you want to change its name, let me know. I'll change it. I just do it in the interest of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my search would always be on date related. That's why I put the date.
Right. See, and sometimes I'll go, where was that week we had that awesome thing on whatever, Smart Sheets?
I
And
know.
I had no idea what day it was.
Right.
Well, that reminds me, I have a question for Sarah on Smart Sheets.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to ask her now?
Sarah knows everything.
Well, I'm thinking about using Smartsheet to, you know, I've got a client that needs a lot of hand holding,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking of maybe creating a action list for him. And I wanted to share with him, but I just have the single user. Do I have to have the three user version to do that kind of stuff, or?
I don't know.
We are echoing now.
Yeah, I'm not doing the free version, so I'm not sure. Can you collaborate with the client if you have the free version?
No, I have the paid version, but it's a one user.
Oh no, that doesn't matter. You can collaborate with as many people as you want.
Okay, but and it would just be, he can't see the other things on my Smartsheet then?
Right.
So you have to do it at the client level?
You just, on the sheet or the workspace, you share with him.
Okay, it has to be a sheet then. So like I'm limited to 10 sheets. So I'd have to have a separate sheet for him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
You only get 10 sheets?
For the $17, if I wanted to pay $50 a month, I could get 50 sheets, I think.
Huh. Because I'm paying 50 sheets or $50 a month.
Be careful what I say, sheets.
Here, and and then I have 4 users, so I get.
Maybe you got grandfathered in or something, or
I have 200 sheets because I pay What's 600 a month? What's 600 a year?
You may get grandfathered in, and also they may really like you because you did video.
Yeah, they may have given you some
I don't
extra goodies or something.
600. Oops, 600 divided. Let's see. Yeah, $50 a month is $600. And that's a team. That's the team.
Yeah, it's like, I think each user gets 50 sheets.
50, and so my team, I can do 200 sheets.
Oh, because you're separate from the team then.
Well, it's just my account.
Okay.
It doesn't assign them to the users or anything.
But I mean, to get 200 sheets, they'd have to have the 3 users and then you separately as another user, right?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm. The team gives me 200.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I can invite as many as I want. Like we've got the SBAA workspace. And
Right.
I got all kinds of people that have joined there.
Do we ever use that? I haven't looked at that often.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Do you? I should probably look at it.
And I wish people would help me because I've been doing app comparisons and like the AP automation. So I've got all the features in rows, and then I have Bill.com, MentalTree, Play2, whatever. And I have it set up where anybody can go in. Like if you're comparing software and looking at demos, it's nice to have that spreadsheet because as you learn stuff, you can
Put it down, right? Update.
Uh-huh.
So switching gears a little bit, Brandon, since you're here, you had talked a little bit about different payment solution providers you are partnering with.
Yes. I talked about that in the ASG group, but so back in the day, Intuit used to do terminal processing, and most of you know that they have quit terminal processing. So all of my customers that had terminals got sold to
Revel?
nope, not Revel. That's a tablet point of sale. I don't remember what company they got sold to. Anyway, irrelevant. So I've got 2 other companies that we use, actually 3, but anyway, the way that I've set up my relationship with them, I've gone to all 3 of them for the purpose of our ASG team. For those that QuickBooks Merchant Service is not a good fit, or they need terminals, or for whatever reason they don't want to go with QuickBooks, I've set it up to where we can all of our ASG team would be a rep for these other companies. So I had one of our new guys on the team. Square canceled one of his customers, or one of the people here in this co-working space, but he runs a cigar club. So they found out that he's selling tobacco and canceled him.
Oh.
But, yeah, they said it's I don't know, for whatever reason. So I was looking. They use a kiosk for that. It's just an iPad-based kiosk. And anyway, so it turns out that Vantiv is already built into their platform. I said, well, it's a perfect fit. Called my Vantiv rep, and anyway, we'll have him set up by next week. And it's a perfect fit. They allow us, one of the things, now I love Intuit, but one of the good things is these other companies allow us to haggle rates a lot more than Intuit will let us do. So we can haggle rates more. There's a lot more customization we can do with merchant service and working with a rep. So anyway, so that's what I was talking about in that ASG where I was just rambling live. So Vantiv, another company that we're working with has got a terminal program where it's a flat fee. So I think it's like $49 a month flat fee, and it's an interesting concept, and I'll just have to put all the information out there. So they've got a sign at their point of sale saying that they add 3 point something% to the sale. So the client actually pays for it, and then they turn around and add the money back. So I've seen it. It's hard for me to explain. So I'll just have to put that information out there. But that's I've never
Good
seen
nonprofits. Would that be
What's
good
that?
for nonprofits? Would that be good for nonprofits to?
Yeah, as far as I know,
use the fee?
anybody could use it. So it doesn't matter how little or how much processing you're doing. It's saving people a fortune, and the fact that the customer is actually paying that fee is kind of the selling point. So we just got set up with them. I haven't had a chance to really market it, but I don't see a way that you can really lose unless you're just not processing very few or very low ticket amounts.
Right.
So when you get a chance, you'll put that in the ASG group?
Absolutely. Yep. Matter
Awesome.
of fact, I'll probably have those guys from Quantum Payments. We'll probably do let them come on and talk about their whole program. And we'll probably do the same for Vantive if I want to get our rep over there. But that way, at least we know that we've got your customers are not locked into one particular processor. And if you recommend it, then you'll get paid those merchant service fees. That's the passive income, residual income that we're looking for. So anyway, just so you know, that's out there.
Nice, nice. Can't wait to hear about it. And I love your shirt, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. I got that at Google. Yeah.
Nice.
Visit them when you were up at QB Connect at
What,
different time?
2 years ago, I think it was at a QB Connect conference,
Got it.
and I left and went to Google. I had a friend of the family from there in Arkansas. I'm not here in Arkansas anymore. Works for Google, and anyway, he gave me kind of the grand tour. It was a lot of fun.
Good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share my screen and talk about Atlas. This is the email I got. This is the CRM program. I don't know if anyone was on Seth's
Yes.
about that. And they do, like Sarah said, give you the opportunity to download your stuff. But boy, oh boy,
What a shock.
what a shock. They
Yeah.
were in
2
business,
months. It was on the market 2 months.
and that was it.
Never know. They didn't have enough capital behind them.
Or whatever the problem was.
Yeah.
They're just shut down. They've got December, and then that's it.
Yep.
Well, not even all of December.
Not even all December. It's like 3 weeks or something.
December 22nd.
Now, as I understand it, Sarah, that's the reason you didn't onboard with results, is just because based on how much time and effort it takes to onboard something like that, and then to have it jerked out from under you.
Is
Right.
insane.
Well, but I think this is more common than we realize.
I think it's more common, and we realize it.
Did you see the comment on Facebook from Samir? He's the used to work with Intuit. It's a programmer. He's working with Judy, and they're building out that what's the name of it? It's a dashboard for accountants. Anyway, and he said it happened at Intuit all the time, where they would have a feature.
I know that it's happened at all the time.
Meanwhile, they've been hyping it all up, and you've been recommending it, and then it was
It gets yanked from you, and I've said that before. I have said that before. That's why I'm hesitant for
Yeah.
these particular, certain apps. Right away, they help you out, but certain apps like a CRM, you put a lot of time and effort and customization. You only get out of it what you put into it. And to really get the best results, you've got to really spend some time with it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to think in advance how you want to structure things. And once you get it set up, then it's a breeze. But all of a sudden, having things yanked out from underneath of you is a killer.
Well, there's nothing worse than saying, okay, staff, we're going to use this. And they set it all up and we get used to it. And then you go, okay, staff, I'm going to use something else.
I know.
That's why, like right now, we're using Smart Sheets so much for our checklist. And they're all getting used to it. And we're getting into the and then I look at Arrow and I go, oh, there's some really cool features in Arrow, but there's no one else.
Nope.
But
Well,
we have app fatigue.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I was just going to say on the talking about CRMs, I have finally got everything converted over to results.
Results, yeah.
And love it. Now it's got so many bells and whistles. I've only really grasped a few of them, but the addition that they wrote for Premier resellers is it will pull from QuickBase. So if you've got all of your customers that you've ordered software from, it's got their order number, it's got what year they're on, their expiration date. All of that comes directly in. So if I'm looking, I don't have to go back and either ask the customer or log back into their system or go back and look at any other place. I can just go to results and find that information. It's really, really cool.
And then target an email for those that need the upgrade, and you can do that monthly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome.
And I totally understand where you was coming from, Sarah. I did when I talked to Sam, who wrote the software. Now, Abacus Next bought his company.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now he's still actively involved in that product.
Marks that hand because they bought all kinds. They've been buying.
Oh, they're buying everything. It's they've got some deep pockets. But yeah, so yeah, they bought Office Tools. They bought,
which hated their management. I'm so glad. I hope they're gone. Good product, horrible management.
They just bought a new document manager.
Or the other one, Cloud9?
Yeah, they bought Cloud9 a little while ago. So it was after after they got compromised, after the data breach.
Like the same week.
Yeah, it was right there along the same time. And that was shortly before I went over for their VIP conference.
Oh, that's right. There were some deep pockets.
Oh, yeah, down in San Diego?
Yeah.
That was incredible watching you guys. And I'm like, oh, the cool kids are in San Diego.
Oh, that was ridiculous. I don't know why they invited me, but that's fine. But do what?
The grace of God.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you know, David Leary made a good point. He said that follow the money. Who's buying whom? Who's financing? It's like, and I'm trying to think, what's the other project management that can't seem to get off the ground? Shoot, I get his email every single day. Which, if he can ever get it going, it's going to be really fantastic. But it's been like, what, 2 or 3 years we've been waiting for the thing?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. It was for accountants. It was designed for accountants.
Yeah, and doggone it. Oh, shoot, my memory. But you know why I worry about him? It's just him.
Right.
And he runs his own accounting firm. So I think He's an
Right.
accounting firm.
Gets hit by a bus.
Okay. And then I think he like tables it. What? What?
Got another conversation going on.
I'm sorry. He squirreled me there for a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I wanted to say what David Leary said. He thinks that the cloud hosting is going to go away.
The what?
Cloud hosting companies.
Well, because so many people became cloud hosting, and I think some of them weren't as profitable as others. So, yeah, they'll start dropping off.
Well, the economics, I mean, it's a lot cheaper just to do SaaS. I mean, you have to pay for software and, in addition to the
Or Qbox.
or QBox.
Yeah, Qbox made a huge dent in the hosting.
I am sure that they did. There is like
A slow internet.
pardon?
You don't want to be on hosting on the cloud if your internet is slow.
Oh, well, there's all kinds of things that happen when you're hosting on the cloud that can prevent you from actually doing your work, which is counterproductive and really frustrating.
Well, yeah, what happens if your QuickBooks file gets corrupted on the cloud?
Well, it's no different than being on a server on your own C drive.
Yeah.
You're talking about desktop? On a
Right,
server?
right.
There's no
So
difference.
Intuit's got a new Pro Premier desktop leader. So at the IRP Connect, before QB Connect, I was talking with him, and so he's brand new in that space. So we're sitting there talking over dinner. He said, "Who do I need to talk to?" He said, "Where?" I said, "You need to go talk to Chris at QBox." I said, if you want to make a name for yourself or find out where people are going, I said he's got so many customers that are all in the Pro Premier space that I said we use it in the enterprise space, and because we've got my office in Alabama and our office in Arkansas, I said it just works.
It just works, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a simple program, easy to use, very intuitive, and actually once it's set up, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
You just open your QuickBooks
I know, and I don't understand people that have trouble with it. Every time my clients call and they said they're having a trouble or they've got a red exclamation,
User.
I just say reboot your computer. And in every case, that has fixed it.
Yep.
Now, there was one time when one of my clients, I noticed she had gone in and she was working. That's what's really nice. If you're on this, I noticed she was in there working, but it wasn't locked. And so what I did, she's about 10, 15 minutes away from me. I went and got in my car and I went over there. I made sure what we did was we backed it up. And then I emailed it to myself, and I came back to my computer and restored all the work she had done. Hi, Melissa. Kids early?
Yeah, well, they don't have their Friday thing anymore. So we were at the park, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what time is it? We gotta go."
It's time.
Okay. So, Melissa.
Yeah. Well, good to see you.
Oh, I miss you guys. Is that Kylie's
Hey,
hand?
Melissa, there's Kylie waving.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that Kylie's hand? Hi, Kylie.
Little hand.
the bodiless hand from
I love it. I love it. Oh.
So anyway, you want to hear about my nightmare this week?
Well, let me start with something else a little bit, which will lead into that. I want to say that in the last couple weeks, do you remember when I was trying out Sage and wanting to get into Sage 1 and trying to do all of that? I've kind of tabled it. It just is not an easy program. It's not even close to QuickBooks Online. I wouldn't even say it's as close as QuickBooks Online was 5 years ago. So I've kind of left it go, but I have been getting all kinds of calls recently asking for help, for support, for Sage.
Really? How are they finding you?
More calls for Sage than I do from my Intuit Pro Advisor site.
Did you?
That's
Where are they finding you?
Originally, when I signed up with the Sage One, I signed up for something called Sage Match.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they're still finding me there. Unfortunately, I'm declining that for the very same reason Linda's going to be talking about, which is, you know, you have your method of doing things and you have certain clients you want to deal with, and some are just not good fits. So yeah, although I wish I had somebody I could really recommend to these guys.
Sage has been doing a lot of advertising even on TV up here.
Okay, that's
Wow.
cool. I have been seeing a lot of Sage like Facebook ads because obviously I fit their targeting. But you know, it's funny that you say that, Gina, though, because I'm having a similar experience with Zoho books.
Oh.
You know, I was like, oh, let me get into Zoho, and then I kind of, you know, like I talked with their team and their guy, and we're from the same town, and so, you know, we had all this connection. And then I had one client that I was transitioning, and that was right before I had the last baby. And so I was like, I don't have time for this. But I just get all these emails constantly like, can you help me with Zoho? And I need help with this. I finally took one client on that's a cleanup, and I'm learning the program a lot more. And it's not bad. It's nowhere near QuickBooks, but, you know, it has its pluses and minuses.
If you have somebody you want to work with that's using Zoho Books, there was a client I refused.
Okay. I don't know that I want to really like advertise that I'm a Zoho or that I'll do Zoho. The only reason I took this one on is because I just had that really great connection with the client, and they were an awesome client. And I was like, I like you enough that I'll work in this software that is not my, you know, preferred.
The problem is we have so much experience with QuickBooks and Intuit at this point.
Right.
We don't even have to think about it. You know, we see the problem, we know the solution. Not so much with the other things that are coming on.
Well,
Right.
it's interesting. I was talking at QuickBooks Connect to Yelena Arcula. I don't know if you guys know her. And she used to do about 50-50 QBO and zero. And she was like, Melissa, after this conference and how zero's been acting, she's like, I'm about ready to ditch and move all my clients back to QBO and not do zero anymore, because Intuit has upped their game and support for the accountant channel so much that's why none of the other softwares can compete.
How has Zero been acting?
Well, she said, you know, just they're lagging behind in their support. They don't offer phone support at all. Period. It's only email support. And there's not like priority response, I guess, for accountant channel. And I mean, it's just, you know, like they're not releasing the updates, and they don't have the same roadmap that Intuit does for the QuickBooks products. Yeah. And they don't have the same level of support. And so they're kind of like, they were cool when they first came out, but they haven't improved since they came out.
Got it.
Yeah, the reports have it. I use Zero for my own accounting. And I do it because it's free. But I haven't really been impressed with their reports. And they don't really seem to spend a lot of time upgrading. I mean, there's certain things that it's really difficult to get in Zero.
Yeah. I did one cleanup job in Zero, and I wanted to rip my hair out, and I said, never again am I touching this program.
So Brandon, you're going to leave the office? You're going to come back?
From the truck.
On the road once again.
On the road.
On the road.
Go back
I got
home
to
time.
All right, take care.
walk
sir.
over to the hotel, and we're gonna go see play with nieces and nephews. And
Well, have fun.
Yay.
Have fun.
all right, bye y'all.
Bye.
So Linda,
I've got a quick thing that just take a second on what I was telling about on the thing I learned on the tax records might impact Melissa.
Oh, yeah.
I have a client that is in all sorts of trouble because he's got multiple records on his IRS file, And and he submits returns and it gets posted to the invalid record, and then the valid record, it's on the master file, sends him default notices and all this stuff. Turns out he has a middle name that sometimes he uses and sometimes he doesn't. And he put his middle name in the last name field on the 1040. And so they created 2 records for him.
Oh my God.
One that posts to the master record and one that posts to an invalid record because it's got the same social number but 2 different names. And so now, like I say, he's getting all these notices for returns that he's filed the return, but it got posted to the wrong place, and so it's not showing up on the transcript because it's not on the master record.
Oh.
And to make it further complicated, immigration's trying to kick him out of the country, and I had to do some tax returns for him, and I'm working with this IRS person, and I asked for copies of the returns that were posted to the wrong record. And so she said she sent a request into the records department. They sent the returns, but they sent it to the wrong place, and so now she's trying to get it. So it's just been one screwed up mess after another. So it's kind of an ongoing saga. This is the guy his bookkeeper was on drugs and was stealing money, and he bailed her out of jail, and then she skipped bail, and now they're trying to stick him with the bail, and it looks like they destroyed the QuickBooks records, and so it's just one big screwed up mess. So anyway, that's my little update.
Why would you bail someone who stole money from you out of jail?
Exactly. Didn't learn the lesson the first time?
Nope.
I don't know that I would necessarily bail every one of my family members out of jail. Stole money from me.
Yeah.
Okay. Linda, I'm sorry. We got squirreled there.
No, it's quite all right. Not a problem. I want to follow up, though, on what people were saying about QuickBooks Online support. It is unbelievably good.
Ah.
This situation that I had is I had a financial advisor refer a couple to me, all right? And when I finally talked to them, it turns out that the man had set up 2 different QBO data files. He had set up a QuickBooks Simple Start file, and he had set up a QuickBooks Self-Employed file on his iPhone. And he didn't understand. I don't know. He obviously doesn't track his finances very well because he was being charged for both of these every month. And I don't know. He didn't notice it. So I called in today. We set up another appointment. I said, I can't give you a quote until I understand your situation. You know, 'cause I just can't because I don't know what I'm quoting. So we got on the phone. I did a Zoom meeting with the prospect, and I called into it, QBO support. And he got on 123 Rescue, worked beautifully. And so it turns out that QBO offers free phone support to the regular customers, even if they're like a year old. You want to know what that number is? That number is 1-800. Let me put it in here in the chat. It's 1-800. He gave this to the guy. Hold on here. 1 space 800 space, and then it was 488 space 7330. And that is for just a regular old slob that subscribes on their iPhone to Self-Employed. I was able to, they sent me an invitation. I was able to open up the Simple Start. What I do is I do a P&L for all times, and because it supposedly wasn't that long, I did it by month. And it looks like they started it in January 2016. There were a few numbers in January in 2016, but there was nothing until the end of 2017. Whatever he did in that, he wasn't doing it right. It was just a mess. And my suggestion is let your Simple Start go. He was using the iPhone app, which is QuickBooks Self-Employed, and I said, you need to contact Mariette Martinez, who she specializes in that, QuickBooks Self-Employed. And I said, she'll look at that file for you and she will tell you how much is in there. But I said, my guess is that you have most all of that information in there relatively accurately. And Mariette can train you to do it so that, and I said, the other thing is maybe, I don't know what this is. This is probably, this is
Probably a sales call. I have gotten 5,000 of them.
It's actually not, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna make it go.
Giving Tuesday.
I know,
Oh my
from like
God.
10 years ago, they'll go away. I'll deal with them later. They're from like 10 years ago. So anyway, but yeah, Mariette can do the self-employed. And I said, I would be happy to give him a proposal for doing QBO Plus starting January 1st, 2018, but I'm not doing anything but QBO Plus. I'm starting to be like Debbie Kilsheimer. And the other thing that Sarah's gone now, but the other thing that Hector pointed out this morning, and I'm starting to do this now, I'm starting to tell the people and tell them in writing that if you want to work with me, you have to promise and commit that you will spend 3 hours a week practicing what I teach you. Now, 2 of those 3 hours can be if we have an appointment, if they go into a setup training package, I give them 2 hours a week and they have to be on that. And then there's a 3rd hour a week, they have to practice what we learn. Because if they're not willing to do that, there's no way they're going to learn it. Doesn't matter how bright they are. And, but the thing is, I think people have to be reminded of that over and over again. They keep thinking if you're smart, you're going to just pick it up. You know, well, you know, Melissa's a little closer to this. Do you remember when your kids learned to walk? They didn't get that right away, did they? It took about a month.
Exactly.
And how stubborn they were about practicing it, how quickly they learned it. You know, and we forget that. We just forget it so easily. And so anyway, I really appreciated that, and I'm starting to now put that in writing, that these are the requirements if you want to work with me.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's okay. There are a lot of people out there that will do bookkeeping for you, and you don't have to do it.
Exactly. But that's not your business. Your business is not being the bookkeeper. You're the trainer.
That's right. That's right. I just had that conversation this week too. Somebody referred and they, you know, very nice person, and I really spent more time than I normally would. Usually I would just like, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Here's someone that can help you and move on. But because they were referred by a very good client and also used a CPA that I work with, I mean, there were a whole lot of, you know, and they were bound and determined to use Quicken. They used Quicken. Stop laughing.
No, I mean, it's fine if it's set up right.
And they wanted to know why I would not support them with Quicken. The reason is I don't use Quicken. I have my own model. And if you want to use Quicken, it could work for you. That's perfectly fine. I'm not the person to do this. You know, and also I think that they were looking for free stuff and cheap stuff too.
Okay. We got a cutie pie over there. We got a chocolate chip cookie face over there.
And right now he's like, can you write a note so Dad will give me the candy?
Write a note.
Yeah, that's the only way. Because we've learned that you can't trust him just to say, well, Mom said it was okay or Dad said it was okay. No, we have to have a note now. A little sneak.
It's tough to be have a united front when they play you.
Oh, it's true. They're sneaky.
Yeah.
I had an interesting situation with QBO support. One time when I was more involved with QuickBooks, I was trying to get a desktop problem solved. And they transferred me around and they transferred me to the QBO department by mistake. And they actually helped me.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, they're very friendly. They tell you call back again and again and again. They never make you feel bad. They're just
Oh.
really amazing. And I think they must have realized that that's how you get loyal customers.
Yeah,
Or
seriously.
they're
I mean,
listening to the feedback.
yeah, I mean, for me, like, you know, the majority of the time I use chat support because I'm like, I got noise everywhere. So I need to be able to multitask. But I mean, like, I've been on chat support where we had a weird issue and they're like, 45 minutes. They're sitting there like going through everything, figuring it out, you know, moving it up to the next person to figure out like how to, okay, we're going to have to call you, like, we're going to do this and then we're going to call you back. And I'm like, fine, that's cool. What, I mean, it's just amazing.
I always try to use chat because it gives me a record so I can refresh
Yeah.
my memory, or I can forward it to the next person that wants me to start from square one. That's the problem.
I always get a case number. I find it's really slow. I find that when I type something and then hit enter, it's probably 2 to 3 minutes before I get an answer. And that just seems like a long, long time. I think
I wonder if it's your computer.
Well, sometimes it's that the one thing about the chat agents, and this is in any customer service center, if you're a chat agent, you're helping more than one person at a time.
That's what I think. So, I think you're helping 2 or 3 people.
And most of the time, you know, the questions that come in on chat are like a quick, oh, here's the answer, like here's the link to the right answer thing. And so, you know, but then all of a sudden they'll get one that's hard. So they have to kind of like turn themselves off in the queue and take care of the other people that they're doing so that then they can focus on you.
Got it.
So Melissa, what do you think of the tax bill that they're trying to create or push through? I went to a IRS Working Together symposium a couple weeks ago, and I put up slides for, you get the slides into Gina. As to the
and it might was it last week or before? It was fairly recent.
Yeah. The thing that struck me was that, one, if you have more than one kid, you're going to come out on the short end of the stick as far as because they're not even doubling the personal exemption there. It goes from like, if they double, it'd be like 13.7. And the second thing is that if you're an S Corp, there's a good chance the strategy you use to minimize your salary may not work so well because they've got this new convoluted formula. So those are the 2 things that jumped out at me.
But it doesn't look like it's passing. It looks like it's
you know, it's so funny because everyone, like, I mean, certain people are just like, oh my God, did you read this? And I'm just like, listen, this happens every time we have a change of leadership, whether it's a change of who is the House majority, whether it's a change of who is the president. They're always going to come out with these crazy tax ideas and bills. And then 2/3 to 3/4 of it is going to get completely wiped out. And there's going to be, I mean, there's changes every year, but the changes are not going to be as dramatic because that's not how it works. You can't change it that dramatically. Americans won't accept it. They need small, gradual change.
And there's a time limit. There is a time limit, you know. I mean, I had my sister calling me, telling me, how soon can I get my tax return done? Can I do it January 1st? I'm like, well, depends on whether the laws are changed or not. What do you mean?
I know. So I just tell everyone, I was like, can you write it out a minute? Like, I mean, these are people who are freaking out in October. And I'm like, guys, no, they're going to go, they're going to debate it. They're going to erase half of it or more. So don't freak out. Be aware, pay attention, but don't freak out until something actually passes.
Yeah. And call in and say, don't vote for it. Vote no.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm not a fan.
So I want to go back to Quicken. Does anybody know anybody that uses Quicken or supports Quicken?
Well, I know people who use Quicken, and it's a fine program. They took it private.
Aren't they discontinuing that? Didn't I?
Intuit sold Quicken.
Yeah, it's another company. It's another company that runs it now.
Intuit sold Quicken 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought that they did, but they're still putting Quicken out. I mean, they still got.
It's a privately held company.
Yeah, it's gonna die a slow death.
Oddly enough, my client that's getting threatened to be kicked out of the country was using Quicken for a while, and so.
I think I've maybe looked at it one time in my life because one of my friends was trying to, like, they used it for their personal budgeting, and then she also used it because she was doing direct sales. And I was just like, I can't help you. I don't know what this mess is.
It's
Well,
not.
the thing is
It's not.
Intuit sold it because they bought Mint.com, and Mint
Right.
is their personal finance product now. So, you know, it's all moving to the cloud. So that's why, like, Quicken was a desktop personal finance thing.
Right.
But then they kind of sort of had versions that you could use for business. But I'm like, don't.
They had a rental property one too.
Yeah, it's not worth just doing it for one client.
Right.
No. I absolutely refused. As much
I mean,
as
if they're going to be on a desktop program, at least go on QuickBooks Desktop.
well, I asked him, what's the matter with QuickBooks Online? What's the matter with I just didn't get it. Well,
I just
okay,
didn't get it.
that's fine. Maybe you should hire somebody that does.
Here, why don't you
Yeah.
try?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't get how to drive a car the first.
Go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
No, I thought about registering the domain name Quicken Books because I can't tell you how many times you do that Quicken Books, don't you?
No. That's hysterical.
Well, and people hear the name Quicken because they do the Quicken loans and the Quicken lending. And
Yeah.
And a lot of time, people that are talking about QuickBooks call it Quicken.
Yeah.
they do.
They do.
I mean, that's why they picked QuickBooks to begin with, because it was associated with Quicken,
Yes,
back in the mid-90s.
it was. It came out of Quicken, I think.
Yeah, I remember back in 95, I think it was, the first time I saw an ad for QuickBooks, it said, "Say hello to your new CPA."
And it's never reached that goal since then, has it?
No, that kind of alienated the CPA community, so they've always had kind of an arm's length relationship with, at least, especially the tax people.
Alrighty, guys. Is there anything anyone wants to talk about that we haven't talked about?
No, I think that's it. Well, I know. I was trying to figure out whether I should buy 5 more QBO plus things. Today's the cutoff on that.
Really? I wouldn't believe the cutoff day, actually, Linda.
I always say, "Oh, we're ending it."
Right
And then-
around right now.
Well,
Like
you know what, though? I thought, what the heck? I might just go ahead and buy 5 more. You can always cancel at any time.
Yeah, but don't you have some that are unused right now?
2.
Get those filled up before you decide to,
Get some
buy
more.
more. Yeah, no point in buying something you're not using.
Because but I'm getting, I can get people set up and get them on it,
Right.
and have ongoing bookkeeping kind of thing. So, it might be a way to get some ongoing stuff without a lot of, because once you get them set up with QuickBooks Online, it works pretty well. And I cannot get over how great their customer service tech support is. It's like wonderful. So, anyway, yeah. And I also, you know what, this is funny actually. I figured out the presents I'm going to give to my clients. And I don't like to give business gifts because you're really not supposed to spend more than $15 on a business gift. And so I decided I'm getting my client dog food for her dog.
Dog food. All of your clients are dog lovers?
Not all of them, but the ones that are, if they have children, I was going to present for their kid.
Got it.
Just think in general, because you don't obligate people. If you get people who feel obligated, don't like to get a present from you. At least I've found that. And so, but if you get a present for the dog or you get a present for the child, it's okay. They understand that. It's like somehow that's more acceptable to them and they don't feel obligated.
Got it.
So,
How many other people give presents to their clients?
Really?
Well, I'm not going to say that they're expensive, just,
No.
I'm trying to get my button gear to at least send them cards.
According to the law.
Right. I'm talking little $5 favor kind of things, or
Oh,
You give them something with your name on it, which
yes,
is handy for them to use. That's not even a business gift. Well, that advertising.
yeah, you're
Right.
limited to $25 to be a tax deduction.
That's
Yep.
right. Yeah. So
I had to
So
break
don't
that
spend-
news in a business group the other day, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, don't spend more than $25.
right.
oh, it's fun watching Brandon.
Driving in the dark. It's dark early now.
It must be dark
Yeah.
back east, right?
There we go.
Oh, it's 6:30. It's dark back east. Yeah.
It's getting dark here too.
Yeah, I hate it.
Not in Southern California. It's not dark down here.
Oh, really?
It is
Funny.
for us, boy, I'll tell
It's
you.
kind of cloudy and rainy up here, so it gets darker quicker.
Send it south, Dennis. Send it south.
I'd like to. I'm getting awfully,
Let's just
getting,
trade. Let's just
getting-
trade for a
getting
week.
awfully sick of this rain.
Well, we experienced in Pennsylvania a earthquake yesterday.
Oh, I heard. Look, someone of my friends who lives in New Jersey was like, "There's an earthquake."
Yeah, it surprised me. My poor little dog was freaked out about it.
Did I ever tell you my earthquake story when I was downtown?
No.
I had just entered the bathroom and sitting on the toilet when all of a sudden it began to
Shake.
start bouncing up and down, and
Hysterical.
I'm thinking,
Is it a
What-
pipe? What's going
I'm
on?
thinking, what a way to end such an eventful life. It's like, you know how hard it is to pull your pants up when the ground's shaking. Man,
That was a pretty good movement there, Dennis.
yeah, man.
I'm
So-
sorry. I don't want to end on that note.
Never was in the Seattle area.
I've only experienced one earthquake, and it was in Arkansas, and I had no idea what it was. I went outside and I walked around. I thought somebody drove into the building.
Oh,
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
On,
yeah.
A very big quake, too.
on a different note, I was talking to QuickBooks tech support one time, and we were conversating about whatever the problem was. She goes, oh crap, earthquake. Everybody get under your desk. I said, I can let you go. We can finish. She goes, no, just hang on. No. She goes, okay, everybody get under your desk now. I'm like, I can call back. It's okay.
Maybe Melissa had this happen, but there were times when I've been watching TV and all of a sudden you notice the guy in the TV going under the desk. And I was at the time when this happened, I was in a hotel in downtown LA and I was like on the 20th floor. And I knew right away they were having an earthquake and they were like in Burbank or Hollywood. And sure enough, a minute or two later, we got it.
I don't think I've ever seen him on TV. When the really big earthquake, so I was about 4 years old when they had the Loma Prieta earthquake, up in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where I grew up. And I was in the bathtub. And so, I'm in the bath, and this is like the first real earthquake I had experienced as I was only 4, and the bathtub's going like this.
That would be scary for a poor little 4-year-old.
Oh, my daughter was like about 3 years old when we had the last one. And so my wife got her and my son out. And then when they came back in, and my daughter says, Mommy, don't do that again.
I would rather battle a tornado, maybe a hurricane, but at least you've got some notice. And I mean, even a tornado, the conditions are favorable. I mean,
I'd rather battle a tornado any day.
You crazy Midwestern Southern people. I don't even know what to do with you.
Yeah, there is no notice for an earthquake.
Oh, no, but here's the thing. Okay, but this is what I want to clarify about earthquakes. I am almost 33 years old, and there has been one earthquake in my entire lifetime that did any serious damage to where we lived. And that One. The rest of them, you're sitting here, all of a sudden you hear a little, you feel this like this, and then you see a little rumble, and you're like, huh. And then 30 seconds later, it's done. Like, that's it. And as long as you feel those pretty regularly, you're good, because that means the fault line is releasing the pressure slowly.
Yeah.
As opposed to all at once.
As opposed to tornado and hurricane season, which comes every stinking year.
I heard comments like, we're doomed.
Yeah. It's the superstorm of the century. I'm like,
But you're never
Not
actually
good.
doomed. You can go into a tornado shelter.
Yeah, you can leave.
you can leave, but your trailer park will be gone when you come back up.
But there's multiple parts of the earth you can move.
I can pick up my camper and I can leave. I don't have to come back.
You did leave. You went to the coast, Brandon.
Where there was flooding.
Well, when I was 15, I was in junior high woodshop class, and the teacher was playing, working on the saw by the door, and all of a sudden the ground just started buzzing, and then it started shaking, and so he slams down his project, runs out the door, and we all kind of stampede after him. We get back in, he says, "Class, I'm disappointed in you. You guys panicked." He was the first one out the door.
And left his poor students there.
No kidding. They just took off. I'm not going to stay here by myself.
Huh? Although I have to say that reaction can be automatic. The second earthquake that I was in, I was in an office building, and all of a sudden my 2 monitors started going like this. I didn't even think about it. I did nothing. I was up out of my seat and headed for the front door. Although that's really not the thing that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, especially if you got wires outside.
Right.
So the buildings can fall on you.
Well, I know in my case, the school sent out a letter of reprimand to everybody except the librarians, because they actually followed procedure. Most was kind of running down the hall screaming, including the teachers. So it was like about a 6.5 on the Richter. It was fairly strong. They were saying the Space Needle was kind of swaying back and forth.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We had some neighbors that had just moved in. We had an EF5 tornado hit our hometown.
Yeah.
It was just massive, but anyway, they were not from there. Hey, get a room. Anyway, they packed up and moved the next day and moved to Hawaii.
The next year they had a
Not really
tsunami.
a good place to move if they're worried about.
Wait.
All right, you guys.
Larry hasn't said anything. Larry, did you feel the earthquake?
I did not. Although I think I was probably in the car when that happened. So
Yeah, it's hard to feel them if you're in a car.
right.
So,
All righty, guys. We're going to end for this week. See you same time, same place
yes, next week.
All
right.
right.